I'm Janelle.
And I'm Bobby.
And this is Hugh's in the Mix.
Hit 'em!
Have you ever been unsure of a decision or thought, is this opportunity the right one for me?
See, we've been talking about values since grade school. Most people, when you hear values, you think of like trust or integrity. Or sometimes you might think of values of, what are my company values? Well, today we want to talk about 4 impactful ways for you to find your personal values and unleash the opportunity for you to live your truth. So step 1, take an inventory of your values. This is actually an easy step to take. So what you want to do is find a list of values. We're actually going to put a link to a great list of values down below in the description box. I've always wanted to say that too, like hit the link down below. After you take your inventory of your values and you kind of get a chance to look through the list and see which ones you like, I want you to choose your top 5 values. Rank those from 1 to 5. So for example, I had 5 values. My first value that I ranked very close to my heart was faith. And then 5th on my list actually was grace.
Step 2 is to recruit your friends and family. You're going to pick 3 to 5 friends and family that you trust and that you value. You're going to ask them to rank your values based off of the behaviors that you demonstrate. We shot out a text to our friends and family and said, hey, can you rank our values based off of what you've seen from us?
You're going to ask them to base their list off of the behaviors that they see and not the ones that you think you portray. A lot of times we say what our values are, but our actions speak louder than our words. This gives us a better 360 picture of our values.
Step 3, debrief and self-reflect. You have now your own personal inventory from your friends and family as well as your own picked values.
Yeah, this is that time also where you can kind of call yourself to the carpet. Maybe a certain value is the one that you want to portray the most, but the people around you are saying, hey man, that's number 5 on your list. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're not showing those behaviors. It could just be that in the space that you're in with that particular person, those behaviors don't show as much. But it did tell me, okay, what can I do differently to show more grace? Are my behaviors showing that opportunity with the people that I love and the people that support me?
Something that I found interesting for myself as well was, like, when I talked to my mom and asked her, she ranked growth as number 1. Some of my other loved ones ranked it as number 3 or 4. That's because in that arena, I talk to my mother about growth all the time. Keep that in mind when you're doing self-reflections. Based off of the person and where they've seen you and where they've seen you come from, their values for you might look a little different, and that's okay. I think this is a perfect step for you to really think about, how do I want to show up? Just because somebody has your number 1 listed as number 4, that doesn't mean that you don't show up in that area at all. It just means that they just don't see it from you as much, and that's okay.
Give yourself some space and prepare your heart to listen. You're allowing yourself to be vulnerable. You're asking people to give you feedback. And we know that feedback is necessary, however, it's not always received well. I really enjoyed this part of the steps because it allowed me to hear how my friends thought about me based off of the values that they see that I portray. And that was something incredible. So it was less about the actual words, but more so about the content of the behaviors that I was showing.
Step 4. Living your truth.
Slay! Go ahead. So as you're living your truth, this is you being true to yourself. Now, I want to be very clear that your values, your personal values, is not the same thing as your purpose. Your values do not determine your purpose. However, your values should be able to support your purpose. And not only that, your values should support everything that you do within your life. It should support your relationships. It should support your vocation. It's to support your friendships as well. So as you're living your truth, this is the time for you to feel comfortable with who you are as a person and what you hold true to yourself. For me, my number 1 value is faith. I believe that we all have a different calling and a different purpose. My calling, I feel, is to encourage other people, to put inspiration in others' hearts. And I feel that that is why God has put me here on this earth. And my values actually support the purpose and the calling that I have. So you want your values to support your calling and then also your purpose.
Sometimes when you're in relationships, you feel like you have to have the same values. Or when you're at a company, you have to have the exact same values. You are you, and be you, right? It's important for you to truly live your own values and make sure that the rest of your world lines up with those. When I was in my last employment, I realized that their values did not line up with mine. Because I knew my values, I was able to make a decision on I shouldn't stay. When you have your core values, then you can make those decisions and stand firmly on them because that's who you are.
Sometimes opportunities can take you to where your character cannot stand, and your values are going to be that foundation that support your decision making. It's going to be what brings you back to the line every single time of who you truly are and who you truly want to be. So things that don't support your values, don't be afraid to walk away from those things. But also don't be afraid to go after the things that really do speak to your values. Your values are who you are. This is that time in the moment for you to live your truth. So let's recap real quick. So the first thing you want to do is take inventory. The second thing you want to do is reach out to your friends, your loved ones, your family, and ask them to rate your values. The third thing you're going to want to do is to do a self-reflection. And then the fourth thing, you're taking everything that you've done with steps 1 through 3 and you're living that out in your life. We recommend you doing this at least once every 2 years, as your values might actually change depending on where you're at within your life. Before I was a father, my values looked differently. Now that I'm a father and also a husband, my values are definitely centered around my family.
This is the time to make sure that you show up louder than your words. We hope that you really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hit them! No, I wasn't even listening.
You see what I go through.
I was thinking, I was like, should we put that slate part in there?